Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/Android.
Welcome to All About Android, episode 47, recorded on Monday, February 13th, 2012. This is your weekly source for all the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I did it without looking down at my notes.
Good
job.
Let's see if I can do let's see if I can do the end of the show like that. I always feel the need to look down.
That's tougher.
I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards, and I don't have any lines, so it's okay. I don't need.
You just have to say your name.
Well, I just have to say my name.
Down.
I don't have to do the intro and outro.
Ron Richards of Google TV.
I always screw. Yeah,
of Google TV. Known for his use of Google TV.
Oh man, we got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to be discussing Googorola. I think that's what I'm going to call it.
Googorola. I like that.
Yeah. The Apple is seeking to ban the Galaxy Nexus. What? Chrome for Android. And the Arena is another free-for-all, and we got a lot of other stuff in between.
Yeah, this is a pretty thick and chunky show.
Chrome for Android was like Christmas in February.
Well, for you guys, whatever.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah,
we'll get to
Screw that. I've got a lot of angsty things to say about that.
Ooh, bitter much.
I am a little bitter.
Wow.
I understand.
I am part of the fragment.
Because it's pretty cool.
I am part of the fragment. You are the 99%.
I am the 99%. Damn it. Oh, we are giddy today. All right, let's let's get serious now.
Yes.
I don't know if we can.
Bring it down.
Let's bring the news in. Breaking news. Literally, an hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
I am to me, you're like, hey.
Oh, by the way.
Googorola, by the way, DOJ said okay.
Yeah.
Earlier today,
that rhymed.
DOJ said okay.
There you go.
Ooh,
yeah.
Is that a title for our show? Okay. Anyways, earlier this morning, the European Commission said that they accepted the deal as well. It's a $12.5 million deal. The European Commission said Monday that the deal doesn't significantly change the market for operating systems or patents for mobile devices like cell phones or tablets. The Commission said it sees no danger that Google would prevent other device makers from using its popular Android operating system after the takeover. It also sees no competition problems in Google owning Motorola's patents for 3G and other key wireless technology. But Joaquin Almunia, EU commissioner, said that they would be watching Google carefully. Mr.
Thinly veiled threat there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Almunia said he cleared the deal partly because Google's business model has been to share its Android mobile operating system with other device makers in order to gain the widest user base, making it less likely that the company would restrict the use of Android solely to Motorola, which is a relatively minor player in Europe. This I'm getting from the New York Times. And then, like we said, about an hour and a half ago, boom. DOJ said.
Yes, DOJ said okay too.
Thank you.
And now there's just a few, countries like China that essentially have to approve this as well. Though it's pretty much at this point expected that that's going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of feel like
big issue.
It was going to happen no matter what, but just knowing that it's final, I'm pretty happy about.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting also, if you look at it in the greater context, given that it sounds like the AT&T T-Mobile deal is pretty much dead, and that's true. So that's an example of an acquisition or a merger that didn't pass regulatory commissions and things like that for the various reasons, and I don't remember what the various reasons for that were, but. I never doubted that the Google Motorola thing wouldn't pass because I think it's just them buying a hardware manufacturer, and yes, it puts them in a better strategic position. But if there were less hardware manufacturers, like if there was just Samsung and Apple, and then Google bought Samsung, then that'd be a little weird. But given that there's so much choice in the marketplace, this just it makes sense. So I am surprised that it came so quickly after the European approval.
Yeah, it was.
But my guess is they probably knew the European approval was coming, and so this is all kind of coordinated. But I thought we would have to sweat a little longer. But
no, I guess not.
Googorola.
That's what I think it's going to say.
Motugol?
Motugol?
These are all winners. Maybe they'll just shuffle through them haphazardly.
They're all winners. That's what the important thing is.
I guess because Googorola, Google is still in there. So Motoogle, at least that is really...
The chat room recommends Moogle. But I think that's
Moogle.
that's a little too simple. I think you need to get the Moto.
Yeah, you kind of lose the Moto.
Yeah, sounds like a cow. Moogle. Sorry, I don't know. But congrats to Google for getting this confirmed today.
Yeah, very interesting.
And I wonder how much... it's not the next story. Never mind. I was going to say, I wonder how much it's going to even affect... another story that we have in the lineup, but
well, we move this because it does actually kind of relate to this, actually.
Yeah, so
let's move to Ron.
In additional news and news that's relevant to my interests, and that's what's most important. There's been some rumors swirling about Google developing its own home entertainment system. And over at the Wall Street Journal, there's an article, and as well as some other places picking up, talking about whether or not the Google already demo is rumored home entertainment device at Google I/O last year. And it says, last year at Google I/O, we were interested to see as a part of their Project Tungsten presentation, a home audio system that allowed the user to do cool things like bump a CD case against it in order to trigger playback of the audio CD. And well, now Wall Street Journal is reporting on sources confirming the existence of the entertainment hardware developed and manufactured by Google, which is a first for them and no doubt made easier with their acquisition of Motorola. So there's your connection, Motorola Mobility. Targeted the living room. Think of a device that can stream your entire Google Music library, among other things, and have it all controlled from your Android device. And this all came from Android at Home reporting on Wall Street Journal's previous reporting about that. So, interesting to see that, at Google I/O, we saw that neat kind of presentation of what the future of Android could be. And now Motorola Mobility is a company that does make electronics, be it mobile phones. But there's nothing to say that they can't expand into other types of electronics like home theater stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, people kind of point to the original Nexus as far as like Google doing something similar to that. That was still Google enlisting, HTC to help them with design. And all the Nexus devices have been Google, working with a manufacturer to kind of come up with a reference design. Whereas in this case, it kind of sounds like they're kind of heading up all points of that whole manufacturing process and really kind of take it on. They actually see this as possibly potentially being kind of or actually the source says this anyways, that they're trying to make a really affordable system that can compete with players like Sonos that have really cool entertainment hardware, but it's kind of on the pricey side. Yep. And when you think about it that way and kind of the cool like jukebox aspects of Sonos. We have Sonos throughout this building. It's really cool. You think about, having all of your 20,000 songs in the cloud with Google Music, being able to use that as a jukebox. I guess it's not that much different than having like iTunes on a computer served out to your living room. But I don't imagine, my guess is that this isn't just limited to Google Music, because that would be kind of
well, there's speculation. Who knows? I mean, but I think it's interesting though is that, and as the Wall Street Journal article mentions, the Apple approach of kind of an all-together kind of a holistic kind of approach of we're going to develop software that works on hardware that we kind of specify and we have a little more control over the functionality of. And that way you can get a more streamlined, a more consistent experience. This is what we've seen with Android. And so Android is. We commented about how Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich has been more of like an Apple kind of approach towards the operating system, making it a little more user-friendly, a little more easier to use. And now applying this to consumer electronics, I think is really interesting. And then, given what they're doing with Google TV, it could be, and the idea being that how many millions of people are on the Google infrastructure already? How many millions of people have Android phones or on Gmail or on Google Music? Putting a device, putting an appliance in the living room can do nothing but help their reliance on Google. So.
Motorola Mobility, just as a manufacturer, I think they for all intents and purposes own the kind of set-top set-top box kind of area with like cable providers and stuff. So they're bringing in a lot of kind of that back end. But it really does sound like Google's been working on this for at least a few years now. Obviously, what we saw at Google I/O is proof of that. They had something there, and I guess it remains to be seen if that's what they're talking about here. But it's hard to see that it wouldn't be, because that was already kind of a pretty cool demonstration. And if they kind of take that and fold it into what they're talking about here.
And we've been talking, too, for months, like, well, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that? Finally, now we're getting news about something big.
I know.
And that you bring up a great point, and I forgot that Motorola Mobility, because whenever I think of Motorola Mobility, you think of the phones of Verizon and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right that Motorola Mobility is the ones that do the set-top boxes, and that makes the whole thing interesting, even more interesting when you think about this. Because I think my sister has Fios, which I'm pretty sure is a Verizon Fios, but it's running on a Motorola box. And now imagine that box with Google TV. Imagine Google TV and all of these kind of touch type, kind of experiences and speakers and the whole kind of stuff. And you've got a pretty cool home environment. And then, like the graphic that we have up here, it's telling you what the temperature is or whether, the dryer is done or not. I think it makes it really, really interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think of the Motorola acquisition and they think immediately of the patents, of course. And the patents were a big deal, but I'm pretty sure to Google it wasn't, it obviously wasn't just about the patents. It's also about these other initiatives that they have. Google TV, is something that they're starting to express more interest in kind of building up. And the Motorola kind of portfolio of hardware, as we're talking about, is just an insane kind of value add for that as well.
I talked to somebody at Google recently who and we were just chatting, and Google TV came up and kind of laughed and said, "Oh, Larry's pet project." So if it's got Larry's support, they're going to put a lot of money into it. It sounds like that.
Larry, it's not Larry's hobby. Isn't that the Apple TV a hobby continually year after year after year?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, okay, so switching gears just a little bit, Apple has done it again. They filed a preliminary injunction against Samsung, this time targeting the Galaxy Nexus. Specifically, 4 patents are being cited in the action. Apple already won against HTC for their patent relating to detecting and linking data in blocks of text. We've talked about that on previous episodes. The remaining 3 patents, which are unified search, so one search box that searches a number of things on your phone, slide to unlock, which we've talked about briefly in the past, and word suggestions while typing, which all of these things, it just blows me away because it's like these are integral. Well,
it actually pisses me off, quite honestly. I'm really pissed after I read this whole thing. I'm like, seriously? Come on, Apple.
Wow.
Give me, stop hurting the consumer, because you're hurting me in a way. I mean, I know you're supposed to sort of say, well, out of this will be born innovation for other ways to do these kinds of things.
If they have the patents. And
that's why
they
I'm
are
hoping,
covered.
That's why I was tying in Motorola earlier. If there's anything
they aren't
over
enforced
there.
by themselves. So Apple actually has. I know you.
You just want to throw this little thing, don't you? This kerchief you have.
Yeah.
Out of anger. Too bad if you had glasses, you could take your glasses off quickly and just go,
and glare. Yeah. That's what you need to do. Next time you run into Apple on the street, you need to glare at them.
Yeah.
They'll change
next
their
time
ways.
I look at my iPad at home.
So these last 3 patents are relatively new. They were issued in 2011, though they were filed between the years of 2000 and 2007. So as such, there really is no precedent yet from the courts of how these are going to turn out. But, as I said, the first one was against HTC, and HTC quickly said, oh, well, we've got a way around this. So it's not that big a deal. But in this case, what's interesting is they're targeting a Nexus device, right? And these claims are actually targeting software patents. So therefore, again, other manufacturers using Ice Cream Sandwich run a very similar risk of coming into contact with Apple for these same reasons.
So now, what do you think is
Ice Cream Sandwich?
What do you think? What is the play here, though? Is the play to block and to remove from market, or is Apple wising up and becoming the new Microsoft and saying, "Okay, fine, just pay us license fees"?
I guess that remains to be seen. Ultimately.
Now, I mean, from a business standpoint,
they went on either side.
From a business standpoint, we always joke about who's the next Microsoft and stuff like that. And I've had a lot of discussions with my techie friends and say that Apple's the next Microsoft and yada yada. And so if they're doing
I've
that,
heard it's the other way around. That Google is, but
no, but I'm such a fanboy. I'm sorry.
I know.
But if Apple doesn't need any more money in the bank. So it's not like they're hurting, remember the last earnings statement, how much money they have, totally. So this could be a strategic way, like let's block our competitors and use these patents to block them, which is somewhat new to not so much new because it's been going on, but it's very aggressive and makes you wonder, is Apple worried about the bite that Android's taking out of their market?
I'm sure Apple is concerned with it. From Steve Jobs' biography, there was a lot of hate against Android from him specifically, and I imagine that kind of seeps into the ethos of Apple by and large. Absolutely. I think that Apple would be very happy to see this kind of persuade the individual manufacturers away, or at least discourage them from using Android as much as they have been. That's why you don't see Apple targeting Google directly, because they know that that would be in and of itself a battle of large piles of money being shuffled back and forth, and not nearly as easy to win as targeting the manufacturers, which in and of themselves aren't necessarily small players. But it's way easier for them to take on that army than it is for the Google army, which when you really look at what they're fighting here, it's an Android thing. It's not necessarily Samsung's thing. Yep. It just so happens that Samsung did the phone, with the newest version of the OS, Ice Cream Sandwich. So it's the one that's targeted here. It's the easy victim to be approached by Apple.
Interesting.
So I guess, as with all of these things, we probably won't know for a while, and it will be interesting to see how that pans out. But it doesn't look very great for future device makers and rolling out Ice Cream Sandwich. I don't know if it necessarily means you won't see Ice Cream Sandwich on future devices, because you will,
or different
but it's got to be
or different flavors.
More
like a Neapolitan flavor,
right? And then suddenly Ice Cream Sandwich starts to get starts to melt a little bit.
It's gonna melt quite a bit.
I see us melt.
All right, so let's take a voicemail. We have a voicemail from Sam in Cleveland. Take it away, Sam.
Hi, this is Sam from Cleveland, Ohio. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I wanted to comment about show 46, where you talked about the Dropbox beta that allows you to get extra space for uploading your photos from your phone. I installed it, and it started uploading my photos. But what I noticed was, even though I selected Wi-Fi upload only, it seems to have continued to upload when I went off the Wi-Fi network and went up to 3G. And that actually caused me to go over my data cap for the month. And I'm getting charged another $15 by AT&T for this month. I don't know if other listeners had the same issue, but I thought that's fine to let you guys know. Thanks.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, it sounds like there was a bug in that. It is a beta, but beware. Thank you for the call, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way for us to have really known that. I certainly didn't have that experience when I was using the Dropbox app, but I guess that's something that I guess should be emphasized in things like this, which is that it is a beta.
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing too is that the whole purpose of participating in a beta is to give them feedback.
Exactly.
Here's your big feedback.
How to improve.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. You're basically saying, yes, I buy into your testing process, which means if it goes wrong, it goes wrong apparently on your pocketbook, and I really apologize about that. Yeah. It sucks. Having said that, I guess $15 for 5 gigs of extra space in Dropbox is not the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst deal. Yeah.
I'm not the one that just paid $15 for 5 gigs of space in Dropbox, though. So I understand that sucks.
But make sure if Dropbox had any sort of feedback form or anything like that, or contact us, go to the website, let them know what happened.
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll credit your account, and then you get the if you're paying for Dropbox, maybe you get a couple months free, or who knows?
Or maybe they'll give you
twice
as much, and then you got 10 gigs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who knows? But definitely contact them. That's what participating in a beta, especially like a closed beta like that, you had to actually not go to the market to do that. You had to go through their form to install it. So that's kind of what it's all about. Let's take a quick break and thank one of our sponsors. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by... Audible.com. Audible. That was a dramatic pause for you. Audible.com is a leading provider of audiobooks with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature, including fiction, nonfiction, and periodicals. For listeners of All About Android, Audible is actually offering you a free audiobook. If you haven't checked it out, you have to do it. They want to give you a chance to try out their service, and this is a great way to do it. A free audiobook. If you pick the right book, that's like 12 hours of listening, which can get you through long commutes pretty easily. The Steve Jobs bio is there. We were talking about that earlier. I just finished. Oddly, I don't know why I was attracted to this, but it was actually very interesting. The Michael J. Fox autobiography.
Oh, sure.
That's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
Did he read it?
Yes, he does.
Oh, cool.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
And it was really good.
I love it when the people who
totally.
it's about, if they're still alive, they read their own book.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I like about Audible books, too? I've noticed at the end, you might get some extra interviews with the author, extra bonus content that happened to me. I didn't realize it finally finished in the Plex, and at the end, Stephen Levy interviews Marissa Meyer.
Cool.
And I just thought, wow, I'm almost done. And then, Audible Extra, oh, we're going into an interview. And it was a 13-minute interview. It was bonus. I love that stuff. And I think more audiobooks are doing that, whether it's with an author or an actor or whatever.
Why not? It makes sense. Yeah, that bonus content. So, But to your point, Jason, about having hours of entertainment, I have to recommend Ream D by Neil Stephenson, which will take you the rest of your life to listen to. Because that book is so long.
Is that a good thing?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Trust me, if you're a Neil Stephenson fan, it's so amazing. But it's also, it was like over 1,000 pages. I read it in book format, though. But a buddy of mine listened to it via Audible and just loved it. And it lasted like months. So
nice.
Yeah. So
well, when I had a huge commute, that was awesome, and now it's hard for me to get through the books. But somehow I was able to get through the Michael J. Fox one. It's called Lucky Man, a memoir, and somehow I made it through it really fast.
5 hours?
Yeah, it was pretty short. It wasn't like super long.
6 hours, 30 minutes. It's not bad.
It made me feel like all was not lost, me not having a commute anymore, because I was able to get through it in like a week and a half. So that is audible.com. Actually, go to this URL, audiblepodcast.com/Android. And that'll allow you to download an audiobook for free and check it out. You can download this one or any of your choice, actually. Just go to audiblepodcast.com/Android and check it out. I think you will love it. We thank you, Audible. You guys are awesome. Thanks for supporting us.
Thank you, Audible.
All right.
Oh, and don't forget the Android app, too.
Yes, so the Android app is awesome.
It's really good. It's got badges and fun things if you like that kind of thing. And
if you're not into badges, it plays audiobooks really well.
Yeah.
So.
And it has speed changes too.
It does. So you can change the
functionality is solid.
I changed my speed like 2 times.
Faster or slower?
Faster.
Okay.
Man, I never change the speed.
I do.
Yeah. But it's nice to know that you can.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Let's move into hardware.
Okay, I almost wanted to do this at the top of the show, but we had some more serious things to talk about. But over the weekend, SNL had an awesome skit on Verizon. I'm sure you've seen this, or maybe if you haven't.
I haven't.
Oh, no
I was wondering about that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, you should check it out.
The thing. It's on Hulu or NBC.com. The thing about it, it's got, I can't remember the names of the actors, but they're in a Verizon store. One of them is dressed up in a Verizon, customer service outfit. And he's beginning to talk about 4G, LTE, and, the greatness of it all, which I actually feel like I have an unhealthy relationship with 4G LTE right now because I can't get enough of it. But anyways, if you watch the video all to the end, they stay true. And all of those devices that they mention are all the devices that we've talked about on the show. It's so awesome. Oh, I really, really want to show it.
Was it the Zoe episode?
It's the Zoe episode. And, Zoe. I mean, he goes at the end, and if you have a Droid Razr and the Stratosphere and the Pentec and the blah, 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 and I could not stop laughing because I'm like, what's really scary? I know all those devices, and they are real.
So we would watch that, and I saw part of it earlier today. We would watch this and think, oh yeah,
here we go.
This all makes perfect sense. Don't do a full screen though, because I don't want to run the risk of it getting taken down.
You'll get speeds up to 10 times.
Cool, thanks.
Let's go listen to it.
So, what does that mean? Presentation in 15 seconds. I really don't know what that means.
See, Verizon has to be pretty stoked about this.
I know.
You're Native American on a settlement.
Because it's zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you
totally. It's not untrue.
Run the entire business from your smartphone. Oh, I wouldn't want to do that. And what if I drop it in the toilet? It breaks immediately. Verizon.
Well,
I think except for the tablet, we've talked about all of those devices, I feel like, on this show.
We talked about the Cyborg.
No, not that one. The
Pantec one? We talked about that one. We talked about that one.
No, not that one. There was another one. Jeez.
The Transformer Prime?
No, he said it in there. I don't even remember the name of it, though. There's only one I didn't know, and I'm pretty sure we didn't talk about it.
Verizon's stoked.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because it wasn't negative.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I mean, it was poking fun. I mean, it's clear. I mean,
it's
parody. It's parody.
It's total parody.
Yeah,
I mean, and all the manufacturers are stoked too.
I'm sure. Yeah, I can't believe they got away with all those trademarks and logos.
They had to have agreements with that because
that was very funny.
Yeah, very very well done.
Now, Replicant X3 R0. There's one device in that commercial that I just looked at right now. I'm like, oh, we didn't talk about that one. The Compact Mini. That was the one.
The Compact Mini.
We have not talked about that
Compact?
one. Well,
what was that, like 1997 was that Compact?
All right, well, we have a couple more devices to tell you about today. The HTC Endeavor quad-core phone is reportedly on the way. HTC Endeavor, a.k.a. Edge, and possibly Supreme at launch. See, there's another commercial itself that could be in the Verizon commercial. Could be the first quad-core handset with an NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor, 1 gig of RAM, a 4.7-inch display, 720p display, 8-megapixel, quad-band HSPA Plus radio, means it's probably AT&T bound in the U.S. Oh, and ICS. With new HTC Sense 4.0 overlay.
See, so you totally sounded like a commercial.
Did I sound like him?
I love
and 4G LTE. No.
So the first quad core.
It's life imitating art.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I feel like on the show. I'm like, oh, I'm like that guy. That guy. I'm telling you all about this new phone.
We just don't have flashy graphics that
No, I need it.
squish everything down when you're saying them.
What do you guys think of this phone?
It
sounds amazing.
Sounds great.
Or let me tell you about the Samsung Galaxy Tab 2 unveiled and running ICS on a 7-inch display.
Are you excited? That's the one you're excited about, right?
No, I'm excited about the...
you like the Tab,
I like the Tab, but it's the Galaxy Tab 7.0 Plus, the 7.7. This is the 7.
This is what just blows me away, is Samsung literally has every single mini point of size nailed. This is the first one with ice cream sandwich. Why not make the 7.7?
That's what I want to know. That's the one I want. Okay, so this
not
one
confusing
is
at all.
Dual core CPU along with 1 gig of RAM, packs a 7-inch 1024 by 600 display. Again, ice cream sandwich. It's got a camera on the back and the front. Oh, only a 3-megapixel camera on the back. Okay.
Camera on tablet.
Whatever. Micro SD slot. Blah 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 blah. So where does this fit in the whole family? If they have a 7, then they have this. This is the
That's
updated 7. Then there's a 7.7. There is an 8.9, isn't there?
8.9. Yes. 10
Ron is like, what the heck?
Something popped in my head. I love.
Yeah, no, it's hard to keep it all. But then when you think about Samsung just as a company, they're extremely profitable. Mm-hmm. They're doing something right. So yes, this is very confusing as we're kind of looking at all the different size points. Maybe it's one of the cases of throwing everything against the wall and seeing which ones truly stick, and then maybe focusing on those eventually. But it really does seem like they keep coming out with these different sizes. Like, oh, well, now we have this size to fulfill that need.
Already.
And people are like, well, why do I need this or that?
Yeah.
Like, really hard to say.
And just really quickly, we have the Samsung Note here, but this is the AT&T version that's going to be out in the United States. Very, very soon. But you'll see it's different than the one that Tony Wang showed off. His only has the middle button here with the menu and no search button. And here we have all the buttons here. The stylus is also different. Apparently, people were complaining about the stylus not being able to find the buttons, so they gave it a gray color to the button of the black stylus here. Or wait, it's S-Pen. They call it the Spen.
The Spen.
The S-Pen. Yeah. But other than that, it's a slightly faster processor, but it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the big phone that you can talk
It's an enormous phone. That is an enormous phone.
Hides my face.
Be in stores February 19th. If you pre-order it, it will be yours on February 17th, $299.
$299.
AT&T.
What did you guys think of this? You guys were... It's not too big for you? It's not too big for you, right?
No, this is like small phone for me.
Yeah.
No, this is great. I mean, honestly, I could actually... But you know what? I hardly ever make phone calls.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I
So it doesn't really matter, right?
So this is like
Leo loves his.
little less of an issue.
That's his new phone.
Yeah?
He got the international version, the same one that Tony has, and he loves it. He's ditched his other phones.
I would really, if I had a Bluetooth earpiece that I loved, which I've yet to find one that I actually love, pairing that with that, I would have no problem with.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But as a phone, it's very bulky, but I'm rarely on the phone.
Then you'd have to walk around with your Bluetooth in your ear all the time.
Be that guy, I want some sort of looks like a hearing aid, but works. You know what I mean? Like, I just like why don't we have that yet?
It's stylish because it looks like a hearing aid.
Yeah, exactly.
But I understand what you mean. Yeah. Like maybe just a little bit more hidden, not quite as
a little Uhura-esque, like in the ear, maybe a little. I'm fine with that. But
I like the Note.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. And the more that I see people with it and using it, the less awkwardly large it seems. You know what I mean? It's starting to become normal.
You should use it for a week and then report back.
I know. Well, I would love to actually try and use that and see how I feel after a week. Absolutely. Yeah. If I wasn't already using this, bum, bum, bum.
Oh, we're skipping to you?
Oh.
Wow.
Are we?
Well, I think Ron has a few words before we get to you.
Before you chime in there, hold on there, Skippy.
No, that was a tease.
Yeah, it was a tease.
That was an expertly done tease.
Purpose.
So real quickly, those of you who are on Motorola phones who are desperately waiting for ice cream sandwich and getting tired of the delays, a Motorola exec recently spoke out and said it's not the software that's causing the problems, it's actually the hardware. And an interesting quote that Christy Wyatt, Senior Vice President and General Manager of Motorola's Enterprise Business Unit, said was that when Google does a release of the software, they do a version of that software for whatever phone they just shipped. The rest of the ecosystem doesn't see it until you see it. Hardware is by far the long pole in the tent, with multiple chipsets and multiple radio bands for multiple countries. It's a big machine to churn. So as I believe I said a couple of months ago or weeks ago that I bet you there's a lot of hardware optimization that's happening with ice cream sandwich. That is what Motorola is chalking it up to. But then over across the street, over at HTC confirms ice cream sandwich for 3 more devices.
Oh, yay!
So apparently HTC has a little bit of a leg up over Motorola in this department. And according to a message posted on HTC's Facebook page, the HTC Incredible S, HTC Desire S, and HTC Desire HD are confirmed to be in line for the Android 4.0 upgrade.
I thought they were one of the first 2 handset manufacturers to say, "Oh, we're going to upgrade." Yeah. They are. So, here we go.
HTC says the devices will receive the software later this year, along with the previously announced Resound, Vivid, Amaze, Evo, and Evo Design 4G. So,
yeah, it's interesting also, definitely related to this. CyanogenMod on the CyanogenMod blog had a post on the 7th of February.
Yep.
And talking about kind of progress on CyanogenMod 9, which is ice cream sandwich, their version of ice cream sandwich. And basically Cyanogen goes into detail about how it's actually a little bit harder this time because Android 4 contains what he says many internal changes that require updated graphics drivers. And unfortunately, these drivers are almost always closed sourced, don't appear until a device or dev kit is released with them. So it's kind of interesting through what Motorola is saying, HTC's expectations to releasing ice cream sandwich on a majority of phones, and then it's limited to Sensation. And then what CyanogenMod is saying here, it really does seem like ice cream sandwich and how that relates to hardware is a lot harder than possibly previous versions of Android. And I hope that doesn't mean that the ice cream sandwich turnaround is going to be much longer than what we're used to, which is already kind of long. You know what I mean? For updating devices. I hope that doesn't mean it's even longer, or possibly means that devices that should get upgraded to ice cream sandwich won't because of these difficulties. And I fear that might be the truth, at least to a certain level. So
possible.
Yeah.
But then maybe after that, moving forward, that's the great hope.
I don't know. I mean, does Google, quote unquote, learn a lesson that ice cream sandwich needs to be less dependent on hardware, or figure some way around that so that the manufacturers don't have to jump through so many hoops to get it to work?
I don't think you can ever do that.
Yeah, I don't think so
the
either.
number of handsets and the number of manufacturers that are playing in the pool, there's a reason why Apple only allows iOS to work on the iPhone, and there's a reason why they control the types of variations of iPhones out there, because they can control the software and control the experience. Yeah. So you're always going to run into this. I think it's always going to happen. Same thing. Honestly, it's the. I hate to make the comparison, but it's Windows and PC manufacturers. Every time there'll be a new version of Windows, the insanity with drivers and getting chipsets to work and display drivers and all stuff. The same thing over again on Android. Yeah. So.
And let's see here. Who was that? A Flesh TH in the chat room says that is a problem with the device manufacturers, not an issue with Android, which in the Windows side of things could probably be the same argument is that it's not necessarily the hardware manufacturer's fault that, it's more their fault than it is Android or Google's fault for not working on these wide-ranging hardware. The reality of it, is the unfortunate side of things is that there's all of that variation in the hardware space. So something has to give. Otherwise, it means ice cream sandwich in 2 years. You know what I mean?
I think Rocky in the chat room said it best. Goes, that's technology, man. That's the price of innovation, and that's what happens.
Fair enough. That's a really good point. All right, so. Are you holding on to your seats because of my awesome, expertly done tease just a little bit ago about this device?
I'm ready. Are we ready? Hold on to your laptops. Okay.
I think
ready,
they might.
Ron?
It's a visual gag that's gone on too long.
Yes, I know. A little awkward, but that's okay. I think the payoff was kind of there. So I've been playing around with the Motorola Droid Razr Max. This is the Droid Razr that has the
this is the
3,300 milliamp hour battery.
Compare.
Yeah, and I don't know actually. If
I
have
like
my
this phone.
over-the-shoulder
I really
camera.
like it. If
It's really hard to
if
see
it didn't
from
have all
this
that
far
crap on it, I'd be all over it.
There's a lot of Motorola crap on
Yeah,
it.
that's
You
what I
can
mean.
get
yeah.
rid of it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, I'll just start here. I actually really like this phone a lot, and I've been. I loved the Motorola Razr itself, and the Max I kind of assumed was going to be a lot of the same experience, except, hey, what do you know, a better battery life. And that's exactly what it's been. I enjoy pulling this out, oh, there we go, thank you. I enjoy pulling this phone out to use it about as much as I ever do with my Galaxy Nexus, and quite frankly, the build on it, like the feel of it when I'm using it, is more solid than the Galaxy Nexus.
Interesting.
I'm considering on my before you buy review of this, doing part of it a review of the device itself and part of it a comparison between the Galaxy Nexus and the Droid Razr Max, because they are kind of the two Verizon phones right now to get, as far as I'm concerned. And it's a solid device. The battery life has been excellent. Keeping in mind that I don't live in a 4G zone anymore, so I can't test the 4G effectiveness on the battery itself, but I'm able to have this in a full charge. Takes a little while to charge because it's a big chunky battery, but I'm able to have it on a full battery, drain it through, and it lasts me about a day and a half.
Day and a half.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's like keeping it unplugged overnight.
Wow.
Using it pretty regularly. I mean, I've swapped over to using this as my phone the past week. Part of that, of course, is at nighttime the display isn't on, and the display is usually a very big pull. But even as I've been kind of watching the battery statistics for this, my display is only ever like 13 to 20% of the battery drain anyways, which is part of the reason why Motorola actually went with their display technology on here. It's more battery efficient. They've really done a lot of things to make this be the phone that they wanted it to be, which was a very battery efficient phone. And I've actually really liked it. But then when you look at the display and you realize like it's the pentile, which we've talked in previous shows, after getting my eyes totally and completely used to the Galaxy Nexus HD screen, I totally see it. But it's not a deal breaker. For some reason, it's not a complete deal breaker. I think it really just depends if you are, a Verizon customer and you're thinking about getting a new phone. It's worth it for you to go into Verizon and really kind of pick up both of these phones and truly judge it that way. Obviously, the Galaxy Nexus has a big leg up. You're getting updates from Google. You have ice cream sandwich out of the box. But I tell you, if this had a stock ice cream sandwich on it, which I don't expect it will when Motorola pushes out ice cream sandwich for it, but if you're a Rooter or a Romer or whatever, you could get this and put some sort of ice cream sandwich on it, and this would be a sick ice cream sandwich phone.
Just imagine the potential.
I know. Because when I really think about kind of devices and hardware, I think about, okay, well, what are the guts? Because really, hopefully there's enough of a development community that I can put whatever I want onto it. And the only thing that really limits me is what is the hardware, because you can't really change that.
You really got to wonder now that to go away from the phone, but now that the Motorola deal is kind of approved and is going to move forward, what's going to be the future of the Moto Blur stuff compared to the Android?
This is a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm just is there someone at Motorola who's going to be championing and going, no, we do this for a reason and this is why, and is it going to be one of those boardroom compromises, or is Google going to say, no, just put it the same way, the same thing we put on the Galaxy Nexus, put on the Motorola phones?
Google wants you to think that there's going to be no change, that it's still going to be Motorola doing their Moto Blur stuff, which I used to hate Moto Blur way more than I do now. I don't love it, but it's usable.
And for those, there
are things about it that really bug the piss out of me.
I'm speaking completely ignorant because I've never had a Motorola Android phone.
Yeah. And
so all I know is that Moto Blur equals crap that's loaded onto the phone before I get it. But what is it that drove you crazy about it? I'm sorry, I don't mean to derail your review.
No, what is it that drove me crazy about Moto Blur in particular?
Exactly.
It felt, of the overlays that I've used, it felt the heaviest.
Yeah.
It felt like everything kind of took 2 to 3 steps. I'll show you one, for example. Maybe I'll move to this screen here. So first of all, your app drawer. If we go into the app drawer and you take a look, if we were to really pick apart the apps that are on here, you'd probably notice that a good half of them that are here are all total bloatware. Like it's all like Motorola, Verizon installed stuff that was on here, when I had factory reset it. So that's something to consider, right? If you want to add something to your home screen with Moto Blur as it is now, you click and hold it, and then it pulls up a menu.
Yeah, that's
so then you add it to home.
That's annoying.
No, watch. You add it to home. Let's see here. And apparently it
crashes.
locks it up. Okay, and it puts it up there. If that's not the space that you want it in, you click, hold it, and then drag it down to where it needs to go. So something that on a normal Android OS is a click, hold, position, let go is now like four separate steps, even though that sounded like 4 steps when I said it out loud.
No, but it's more
really
steps.
one step.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just little things like that. And then kind of navigating through, there were just, times where I felt slow down in it. Yeah. But, on the Razr Max, not as much. I think that this version of Moto Blur is definitely better than some of the previous versions of Blur that I've used.
Eileen was just showing me on this Moto Razr or whatever. There's a bunch of pre-installed apps like NFL Mobile and right there and Blockbuster.
Yeah,
and like,
Blockbuster.
can you uninstall those, or those have to stay on?
Oh, I believe those stay on.
See, that's what drives me. That's like same thing on my Google TV. Like, it comes with the NBA app. I've never watched a basketball game in my life. I've no desire to watch a basketball game. I would never use the NFL app. And I would not want it on the phone. And
yeah, it even comes with Madden 12.
Now that is the definition of bloatware.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, Ice Cream Sandwich out of the box natively allows you to hide apps, so you can't remove them necessarily from the phone entirely and like save disk space, but you can remove it from your drawer. Right. It will be very interesting to see how third-party developers, or third-party manufacturers handle that. Do they, is that something that they can disable? And if so, I bet they do, because they don't want people removing those apps, even though that's a really big feature of Ice Cream Sandwich, specifically because of
you can uninstalls here. You can uninstall
it. Does it actually work on some of those? Okay, well,
yeah. So there you go.
There you go. So
I
you
take
can,
it back.
Well, I mean, I'll guarantee you not all of them.
Oh no, not all of them. No. Blockbuster was there, but NFL is.
I feel like maybe those third-party deals you can probably uninstall, but the things like Verizon software and stuff.
No.
I'll play around with it and see if I can. But
that is just
a lot of times the answer is no. So, anyways, overall, I've actually really enjoyed it. I'm going to record a review for Before You Buy, and maybe we can play a little bit of it in the show or not. But
you cannot install NFL Mobile version 5.1.
You cannot uninstall it.
You cannot. All you can do is cancel.
Oh, okay.
Cancel.
Yeah.
And nothing happens.
You
Interesting.
can't even cancel.
You must love football.
I think it's
Mega Mix in the chat room confirms the Razr is rootable. Go for it. Root that sucker.
Yeah, go for it. Root it.
So that's my take on the Razr Max.
We warn you that you might void your warranty. So,
yes,
of course.
Yes, of course.
Always.
All right, let's move into apps. We just stacked it back to back for you, Jason. So,
that's okay.
Razr Max. Now we're moving on.
Very exciting.
My voice is going.
Exciting day last week. It was very exciting.
This was cool. This was news that was
for the 1%.
Okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Give it a chance. Give it a chance, Eileen. All right, undoubtedly.
Now, I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that it was coming that day. You
knew it was coming that day. No, I knew it was coming, and not that day, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen eventually. Yeah. Okay, some people don't even know what we're talking about. Undoubtedly, one of the most anticipated apps finally hit Android, and I'm not talking about Instagram, which do we even really care?
I don't care about Instagram.
All right, okay.
I still care.
Platformists.
I still care, and when it ever comes out, I will tell you why.
All right.
It's a good app,
we'll
but
see.
I'm still pissed.
We'll see.
But let's move on.
All right.
I'm
Google
very
released
pissed today. Sorry.
You are. Throw the thing.
Google released Chrome for Android last week, and it's really good. I actually really like it a lot. We'll start with the negatives.
How quickly I replaced the default browser icon on my desktop.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be that impulse to do it just because it's new, and this time it was like, oh no, this is definitely better. So the negatives, let's start with those. Ice Cream Sandwich required. That's what Eileen means when
I don't see what's a negative about that.
The 99%. I know, right?
For the 1%, that's fine. All right, great.
Yep, that's right.
Well,
maybe you should reconsider your phone choice.
Oh, what if I can't afford it?
You'll get there eventually.
Like a lot of our listeners, they can't afford a new phone. But anyway.
You'll get there eventually, Eileen. No Flash support expected. And actually, this is something that Adobe has confirmed.
Interesting.
There will be no Flash on this. And Adobe's already kind of phased out their Flash for mobile effort.
And I was just going to say, it's not, I don't see that as a terribly bad thing. Flash is an old technology, and HTML5 is the future.
But it's an interesting switch, because even a year ago, you would have heard us saying that Flash is a differentiator for Android from iOS.
But when was the last time you were like, oh, that doesn't have Flash? Like, maybe if you're loading a crappy restaurant website. Like, when was the last time you went to a website and were like, wow, look at that implementation of Flash?
I do think that Flash on mobile has become less and less of a really big deal, to the point to where if you really need Flash, load up another browser, and it's probably not that big a deal.
I'll go as far
Still, it would be nice.
I'll go as far to say that Flash on the web as well, both phone and the web. I think Flash is a dying piece of technology. So anyway, go on.
No twit.tv on Chrome for Android, because it's Flash video.
Yeah, there you go.
And no extensions yet. So I'm sure there will be extensions, they've said. Positives: Chrome Sync, including direct sync to the open tabs on your desktop browsers. That is awesome. So if I'm logged into Chrome Sync on my laptop and I have Chrome installed on my phone and I have 5 tabs open, as I do, let's see if we can try this here, actually. Signed in. Okay, so I'm signed in. Let's see if this works. So Chad, go ahead and take my phone. I'll go into Chrome. It's only doing it. Landscape. Let's see here. Other devices. Okay, that's my Mac Pro. Okay, so there's my Mac. So there's a bunch of different links here from a few of the different computers that I'm logged into right now.
Yeah, there you go.
And then it just syncs those bookmarks. So I can go to the guide that I used on switching my Twitter handle, and there we go. So if it's on my desktop, it automatically pops through to the phone. So that is really cool. But it just has general Chrome Sync as well, with passwords.
And I feel like Firefox had that as an extension too. I mean,
I'm
that
sure
was
it
cool.
does.
That was cool, but it's not. They didn't reinvent the wheel there. But the implementation is very neat.
Yeah, it's new to me. Between my phone, I thought that was pretty sick. Excellent tab management that resembles WebOS tiles. So if you go back to it again,
love the interaction with
so
this.
I'll go ahead and hit that.
Look at that.
Got these different tiles that you can kind of thumb
so
through.
cool.
If you don't want it, you just flip it up.
Nice.
And if you want it, you hit it. And that's it. So a lot of like swiping and
no, the
them off.
interface is so smooth, and it's so neat. Even going from the tabs to the bookmarks to whether they're mobile bookmarks versus recently visited pages, like it just sings. I love it. Right.
And it works on a tablet too, right? I guess we don't have one here, but I think it works on.
I believe it does.
We had the Prime here.
Yes, Chrome for tablet, absolutely.
We had the Prime here.
And then, of course, incognito mode is there for those looking for the private browsing.
Keep your girlfriend out of your private business.
We talked about this in the previous episode.
Hopefully you've learned by now.
And the option to preload pages for faster browsing. So kind of smartly detecting what links you're going to click and preloading those pages. So
I've moved to it completely. I jettisoned the default browser on my phone. I've been using it since it came out, and I've been happy. It's been completely seamless for me.
I have nothing to say other than it looks nice. Looks nice.
You have a lot to look forward to.
I have a lot to look forward to.
Well,
I can think about it. I can read about it. I can watch your demos.
Just think about how fully baked it's going to be when you finally get to use it. There's going to be so many new features that aren't even on it right now.
We're talking about how long it might take for us to get to ICS. Am I one of those that it might take me forever to get to ICS? And then
all you got to do is root that phone. Just saying.
I probably should.
But I understand why
I'm
people
like
don't want to
I'm not too far behind on doing that.
Yeah. And just a quick mention, Google also released Chrome to mobile beta, which sends live URLs to Chrome for Android very easily, as well as sends copies for offline viewing, similar to Chrome to phone, but it's Chrome to mobile with the Chrome for Android. So all in all, very cool release. As soon as it came out, I was like, ooh, I could choose this for my arena. And maybe it would be a lock. But then you guys said nope, because only 1% of people would vote for it. And that may very well be true.
That's when I regretted saying that. My tactic should have been like, Jason, totally go for it.
Oops.
I know we messed up. We messed that
Yeah,
one
we did
up.
mess up.
Now we're like sabotaging each other. It's good.
I know, it really is. I feel responsible, to be honest.
It is. It's your fault. Now your evil is spreading to us.
It's my evil.
Jason is the nicest guy in the world, and he's thinking about sabotaging now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've driven the Idaho out of him.
I wasn't sabotaging. Using Chrome as an arena is not sabotage. That's smart.
But you've had thoughts.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we said Chrome in the arena was just too generic. That was ultimately what it came down to.
Yeah, too obvious. All right, no more Chrome.
Moving on to Google Wallet Gate. In breaking news, you might have busy time for Google Wallet. I feel like the ultimate test of any sort of financial system security is having the security system get cracked. And Google Wallet now is going through its paces. Last week there was news. Was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. News that Google Wallet's PIN security has been cracked, but an important caveat to make that this crack only affected rooted phones. So if your phone was rooted and using Google Wallet, your PIN was stored encrypted on your device, and there was a brute force method that was found to expose the encryption for that PIN information. So rooted phones, beware. So, okay, my phone's not rooted. I don't have Google Wallet. I'm just disclaiming.
Right.
But hypothetically,
you're like, oh, hey, I'm not rooted.
I'm protected. Cool. But then the next day, a second exploit was discovered. And not only that, but it was discovered to affect non-rooted phones and all phones that are using Google Wallet. And basically what this attack does is that if someone takes your phone, they can go into the app settings for Google Wallet and tap clear data. This will erase all the Google Wallet data stored in the phone. When that person opens Google Wallet, it offers the initial setup process again, including setting up a new PIN and tying Google Wallet to a Google account. That's when the issue arises, and you can link up the account to another account and still have all the information. So
also have the prepaid credit card
stuff loaded once you sync it and all that sort of stuff. So that's not good. But Google did issue a statement. And they gave it to The Verge, and they said that they verified the security hole and they're working on a fix. They said they strongly encourage anyone who loses or wants to sell or give away their phone to call Google Wallet support toll-free and disable the prepaid card. They're currently working on the automated fix that will be available soon. They advise all wallet users to set up a screen lock to add an additional layer of protection for their phone. And then also part of it was that they disabled all the prepaid cards that were out there. So a little added protection there. And this is coming on the heels of just this past weekend. I was in Berkeley and I was in a bodega, a convenience store, and they had Google Wallet like on the credit card machine. I was like, oh, it's getting penetration. Yeah. And now this happens. So yeah. But there are going to be some baby steps. That's why they're testing it. That's why it's in they're limiting the exposure. So I'm trying to spin this somehow possible.
Still a blunder. It's still a big blunder, big security risk. But
it's technology, man. Just like Rocky said.
It's technology.
It's going to happen.
Stuff's going to happen. Information's going to get stolen, whenever you use this stuff.
Listen, you've got to learn how to walk before you can run. That's what it comes down to. You're going to fall every once in a while.
I think we have a title. It's technology, man.
Yeah, there
we
go.
Technology, man.
All right. There we go.
One quick update that I want to talk about in App World. Google Voice has just been updated. It looks really nice. Chad, if we could go to this is the new look for Google Voice, and now you can even do offline text. You could queue up messages that you could send later. That's kind of the biggest change for Google Voice. But it looks like everything is moving to the ICS look, and that's what it's looking like. I haven't really upgraded. I don't use it solely.
I've been using it for the past 5 days. Yeah, it looks nicer. I just want them to figure out the MMS thing.
Yep.
Just do that.
Thanks, Google. Please. MMS.
But thank you for the update.
I like sending my videos and pictures. Yeah. You do that too, don't you?
I do.
So please, anytime. We're open, wide open with we'll accept it.
They're listening to you, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why I keep talking. All right.
So there was some speculation that there was going to be a big Google TV announcement this Monday, and as far as we could tell, this is it. On the Google TV blog late Sunday night, they announced new updates for the YouTube app on Google TV, which might not be a big deal to us, but it's a big deal in terms of Google's general strategy. I really believe they're marrying the Google TV and the YouTube departments together, and what this application does is that now it allows for better navigation. They've also added channel pages, and for those of you who are paying attention, if you watch Frame Rate on TWiT, you might know about this, but YouTube is putting a lot of money behind these channels. Folks like Machinima and other channel sites that are out there. I don't know why I call that Machinima, but there are people who are content creators out there, and they're really trying to build up like this TV experience on YouTube where you go to a channel to watch stuff. And so now the app is following in that footstep. So some major updates to your YouTube app. So if you're on Google TV, go update your YouTube app, check it out. Maybe you like it.
It does look nice.
I got to admit, over the weekend, I was watching YouTube videos. I'm like, I don't use YouTube to its fullest. Like I don't either. I don't log in. I don't subscribe. I don't hit bookmarks. I don't save anything.
But you have a lot of messages too.
I probably do. I haven't even checked. I'm afraid to check. But but then I went in, I logged in, I subscribed to My Drunk Kitchen. And I want to keep track of those videos. Like, oh, there's a great video that I sent to my friend. I just send it and forget it. And at least if I log in, maybe I can remember it, and then I can pull it up on my Google TV. So
I think the same happens to me. I often just go into YouTube, cut and paste the URL. tweet it out or whatever,
That
and
happened-
I don't have it saved in my history.
There are all these like I'll find a video of a band playing at some concert, and I'll watch it. I'm like, oh, that was great. And then like 6 months later, I'm like, oh, where was that video of the wedding present that I wanted to see when they're playing in London? And and I've got to research it and find it, and so much video is getting uploaded. I think I need to start using YouTube to be a little more. I need to be a YouTuber.
You need to use YouTube a little bit more.
I do,
you need to become more of a
Put
user.
some Ron videos in there, you know?
I think there's enough video of me out there.
I'm Ron. I like Google TV. Hello.
Should I become a video
Ron
blogger?
XO?
Should I do? I found out that a friend of mine was a YouTuber, like a video blogger, like a couple of years ago, like the straight on, like talk to the camera type, and I was shocked. I was like, really? Yeah.
Talk to the camera, jump cut type.
Yeah,
Chad?
exactly.
Chad's a big YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. That's what I did before working for Brian and TWiT.
okay.
Is
I find that fascinating.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get like around 2,000 views a video.
And what was the news today? Wasn't it Jimmy Kimmel's making $2 million off of his YouTube videos?
Ray William Johnson makes $1 million. Is also the news.
Jeez.
Okay.
YouTube.
Well, now
it's kind of a big
My
deal.
bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I should have done that years ago. Oh, well.
What are you doing?
Instead, I
here?
It's not just
Yeah.
for the kids.
Instead, I just sat on a couch and talked about comic books for 20 minutes, and that was my choice. So, well. And now I'm here.
All right, we'll check it out if you have Google TV. So Tony K writes in, says, on Twig, this week in Google, there was talk about how Google only keeps track of your purchased apps, and that if you got a new phone, then you were out of luck for getting your free apps back easily. That is true from the Android device. However, if you go to the Google Market using your computer, there's a link that shows all apps you have ever downloaded. Did you know this?
But I think
Not the easiest thing to find.
The question was,
How do you get them to automatically reinstall?
Because that's what Jeff wanted. He bought a new Nexus. Jeff Jarvis bought a new Nexus, and he's like, "Oh, not all my apps transferred." And I said, "Oh, I bet your paid apps did." But he wanted he wanted it on the phone immediately.
Yeah, as far as I know, I've seen them download immediately, but not the free apps.
Yeah,
you're right, just the paid apps. There are ways to do it, though. Of course, apps like App Brain, which we talked about in the early days of this show, make restoring all those apps much easier, actually. And I'm seeing now that was Leo's tip as well.
That was his tip for the show. Yeah.
But App Brain allows you to kind of basically take a snapshot of, the apps that you have installed at any given time. And then if you change the configuration, you can just tell App Brain. And at least when I used it last, it wasn't totally automated. It would take you to the install screen of each app, and you had to basically hit go. But it's still better than having to hunt them out and remember
did
off the
I
top of
download
your
that?
head, like, what did I have last?
Why is Foursquare not on here?
And then, of course, if you've rooted, backup apps.
Yeah.
Titanium Backup allows you to restore everything, including settings, gameplay states, all that kind of stuff. So there are options. All right. Nice little tip there. But it's not the arena. So let's jump in.
2 enter, 1 lives. Android Arena.
Tips are so nice and gentle. The arena's where it's at.
The arena. Is it where it's at?
I don't like to
this week
fight.
it's not quite where
I
it's
don't like to
For
fight.
a week.
Yeah,
hey, you're the ones who set up the arena and the fighting. I'm just
did.
playing by your rules.
Yeah, but all of a sudden this black cloud emerged.
Hey,
Ron is still the king.
Congratulations, Ron. I will take the high road and say congratulations,
Yes, congratulations.
for your slaughter last week.
Yeah.
slaughter.
Yeah, look at that.
Slaughter of Cocktail Flow. Getting
Cocktail flow. And
58%. Have we ever had Tech Ace? Have we ever had one that was that high?
Yes, I probably had one
I know
that was
you
higher.
probably have. I know. I'm
hello,
just-
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh yeah, sure.
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
not
that
too
was
long
well-
ago.
that was
That was about as much of a lock as any.
I feel as if I do want to talk about Cocktail Flow a little bit because after the show, if you stuck
You
around
didn't
the
talk about it enough.
Well, no,
That was like
we
the
go.
longest review ever.
I'm sorry, it was. Mine's going to be much shorter this week. I planned for that. Yeah. I was very excited. No, but after the show, if you stuck around in the chat room, you might have noticed we talked about, I forgot to mention in my review, that Cocktail Flow on the tablet requires Air to be installed on your Motorola Zoom, which ties into what we were talking about, Flash and stuff like that. The developers behind Cocktail Flow actually got in touch with me, and I asked them why did they use Air. And they explained that the tablet app was originally used as part of the Adobe Air App Challenge, where they had to use Air technology. They actually got to the final phase, and it was within one of the 80 best apps worldwide. So good job on them. So that's why it was used with Air. And And basically what he said was, they said Cocktail Flow Tablet was the first mobile project based on Air. We're using Flash and Air and the web desktop projects for years now. We have a very good impression with Adobe Air, and we're using it with our next project for Android tablets too, which is a weather app called Weatherflow. So interesting that they're utilizing Air within their app as opposed to just doing it through standard Java development. So
great.
So I thought that was an interesting postscript to my victory. Tech Case, what's the score in the chat room?
I think you're still.
I know. I just like to know. I think we were tied. I'm up on you now. One now, right? Yeah. So.
All right. Well, this week we have just another random combination.
It's a grab bag.
Mostly grab bags these days. But we'll start with you, Eileen, because
I lost.
you were third place.
You lost, and you're confident this week. You were talking smack in the meeting before the show.
I would just want to expose all of you to a very good app, and should you vote for it, great. My app is actually for those who would like to multitask and watch videos while doing other things on their tablet or their phone. And I'd like to thank Reith from Silverdale, Washington, for the recommendation. He writes in a couple times, but he said this app, Stick It, which is $1.49 in the Android marketplace, has been a lifesaver, and he uses it quite a bit. Now, let me show you. Do we have the video? I shot a little video because I was worried that Wi-Fi was going to kill me on this demo. Maybe not. I don't know. Chad's looking at, he's grimacing. All right.
That's a fierce face right there.
That's a fierce face. All right. Well, basically, say you're on your tablet here. You can go to my screen, and you want to watch a bunch of videos or a video, and you still have other things that you need to do. So I am going to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. When you download Stick It, you just hit Stick It, and then the video comes up here on the screen, and then you can go about your merry business and do whatever you want. So
it's almost like picture in picture.
Yeah, it's like a sticky note, right? Stick It, sticky note, picture in picture. You're right. So now, I'm going to watch that in a small screen. Don't need it really in a big screen. And I'm going to check my email at the same time. Okay, I can do whatever I want. Or I could play like a casual game that I've been enjoying lately called Triple Town while I'm still watching the video. And when you're watching the video, you can move it around. Oopsie. You can move it around your screen. What happened there when I swiped it over to the left, it returned.
It's like tracking.
Yeah, so when you swipe to the left, you can return, you can reverse, or you can swipe to the right, and you can move forward. You can make it bigger. If I can make this bigger. You can make the screen bigger if you want. And if you really, really, really want, you could, that's playing standalone videos that are already on your machine. But if I wanted to, maybe I want to watch a YouTube video at the same time.
Two videos at the same time?
You can actually have many videos at the same time. And not all of the videos on YouTube are available because some of them disable embedding. So what you do here with a YouTube video, you hit share. And keep in mind that when you share, it's got a buffer. And then you just find Stick It in the share menu, and there it is. It's going to start playing over here. I just drag it around, move it over. And it takes a bit sometimes to buffer.
Yeah.
So just end that.
Video is terribly processor intensive as well, too.
What happened to my screen?
Oh, too bad your app just crashed.
No. I think the screen went dark. But anyways, so that's what it looks like on the tablet. And I'm so glad you guys didn't give me crap for what I was watching. Did you even notice that at all?
Well, it was David Letterman?
No.
Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Well, okay. Yeah, you guys are guys. There's a little strip action going on.
Oh, was there? Oh, hey, hello.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so
I missed
on the phone, I don't have any videos uploaded here, but I just want to give you a quick look at what it looks like. So say, hey, I want to watch, maybe I want to watch this poor Facebook guy parenting thing. I know, sorry. Maybe I actually, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't give him any more promotion. Let me go to a different, some Skyrim video here. How about that? And then you do the same thing here. You hit share, stick it, and then it'll stick on your screen. That's what it looks like on your phone, and then I can go ahead and play Triple Town. I can do whatever I want at the same time. It's good if you're a big multitasker and you like doing other things while you watch videos, or if it's, I watched one of our episodes, an old episode of All About Android that way.
Cool.
Yeah. And it is important to note that you also need a free plugin called Vitamio. Chad, we should go take a full screen of that. But here you could see it on my screen, and you can move it all around.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's $149 in the Android marketplace, and again, you also need a free plugin called Vitamio.
Vitamio? What is what's Vitamio?
It supports. It's a multimedia framework for all Android devices. It's kind of like a media player there. But
it's probably just for driver, for codecs and stuff like that. Yeah.
So there you can see some screenshots of the app being used while you're doing other things.
I do got to admit, if you had the Asus Transformer Prime, this would be very cool if you were using that as your main laptop and you could watch video while you're
right.
Google
because it kind of completes that kind of
completes that experience. This is a cool app.
The desktop experience.
So I would like to thank Wreath for the suggestion. So stick it, $1.49. And it's really great on tablets, so obviously, because you can have multiple videos.
That's awesome. Now you just need to be able to window your other apps and create windows out of them.
Wouldn't that be amazing if
they could call the app Windows? It'd be great.
And you can maximize them and you can resize them, almost like a graphical user interface. I think
I like that. We'll just call it a GUI.
We're gonna tell the boys down at Xerox about this.
Oh, actually, if you take my so you saw my apps or my tablet went down, but you could see it here on the notification bar that you just hit play, press play for video playback, and it'll come back, I think. Right? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, when you went dark, it just minimized the notification. That's pretty cool.
So anyways, that's Stick It. Who's next?
All right. Cool. I believe that would be me. I'll go next, if that's okay with you. I was second place. So I was the first loser.
I was the first loser. You were the second loser.
Yeah, you're the second loser.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
no, you're the first loser.
I was the first loser because I was closer to the
winner. You came in dead last.
Believe me.
Oh, I guess
I'm
did.
the real loser.
You're the runner-up. Yeah. I'm the winner, though.
You guys are just being nice.
All right. Well, my app is not an app at all. It is a game. I don't do games very much.
You don't?
But when I do, it's a game that actually distracts me from the other things that I do. And this game has taken a little bit of my time. I definitely got further on it on my Galaxy Nexus before I rooted it, and everything wiped out to square one. So I'm kind of on the early stages of it again, but it's called Tip Off. And it's actually kind of, it's a game about a sport that I should be really good at because I'm really tall, but I'm not. I'm really bad at it. I'm really not a good basketball player. But Tip Off allows me to essentially play more or less. It's kind of like horse. It's kind of, here's the ball. You're at this position away from the net. Try and get into the net, and you have a certain amount of time to do so, and you have different requirements, achievements to do. So in this round, which I'm totally not going to pass in demo mode here while I'm talking, is score 12 baskets in the time. I don't do open feint. It has open feint connectivity, by the way, so you can save your status. You can play against people on iPhone as well as Android and do tournaments and stuff. But this is score 12 baskets. So you get this little basketball, and if you click and hold the ball and move it, you see your little arc, right? And depending on how it's arced, there's different speeds.
And you're running out of time.
I know. It's not easy.
Hurry, Jason, hurry.
See, so I have to arc it up there and try and get it. Air ball, that's a little too real.
Oh, and they place the ball wherever.
Yeah, so they place the ball all around. So you have to you just have to start getting really good at trying to just drop your thumb, make the quick move, and go. And see, I'm at 5 seconds. I think I've got 2 or 3 baskets.
You've done all right, man. You've done okay.
And yeah, it's not an easy game by any means, but it's really addictive. You also have kind of ways that you can shop for other things. You can do, silly stuff like change the graphics on the backboard and stuff, but you can also kind of prevent yourself from getting an air ball. You can do all these different things to give yourself extra time, just different achievements and different kind of currency in here. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is this little get free option, which allows you to get free coins by visiting any of their sponsor links.
Yeah, a lot of apps have that these days.
I hadn't really seen that before. I thought it was interesting. It's basically you saying, you know what, I'll go ahead and go there, and
but you could probably, can you buy in-app though? You can buy in-app stuff like
purchase with money.
Yeah,
I would not, but there's
got to be there. If it does that, there's got to be
buy.
some. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
That's
go
a
out
lot like
before it
there's
shows
some
anything.
websites like where when you want to
Yeah,
buy
you can.
concert tickets and you want to get the pre-sale password, you go to some website like visit one of our sponsors, then
Yeah.
we'll give you the password. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so
Overall, it's just kind of an arcade style, quick deal. Here, I'll just go into training and maybe I'll
I like
end up.
the music.
Yeah, it's soft,
Yeah, it's
smooth
nice. It's
jams.
Smooth jams, yeah.
That's why I picked it. Was the music.
Smooth jams while playing some b-ball.
It's really hard to play
out in
this
our
and
urban
talk
environment.
at the same time, but it is a lot of fun. There are kind of different ways. If you're really far away and you get it right in, you get extra points for getting kind of like without the backboard. And
when you pull back,
with
does that change the velocity or the force that you throw it on, or is it you just doing the arc?
So up
Yeah.
changes the force, and
Okay.
down kind of minimizes it, and then if I
So you
go
could whiz
towards
the
it.
ball at it. Like you
So if I went like this, it's going to go really hard
see
towards
that.
the
Yeah, that's
backboard,
awesome.
right?
Very cool.
So you want to kind of get an arc, and then there's other ways that you can kind of arc it really high up, and I didn't give it enough power there, but you can get an extra bonus if you kind of fly it up out of the screen and have it dunk down. I spent a lot of like little waiting time here and there playing this game. It's really easy to pick up and just kind of play for a little while. And the graphics are pretty cool. And it's on iOS and Android, which means, as I said earlier, kind of multiplayer competitions. They actually have timed competitions where you can log in at a particular time and compete against a bunch of other people and get extra coins for buying stuff. So I don't know. I don't do games often, but I really liked this game. It's called Tip Off, and you should check it out. It is free in the Android market.
Cool. Good job.
Thanks.
So
We're patting each other on the back.
Good
Good
job.
job. Good
Yeah, I'm trying to be
good
more
job.
positive here. Trying to be more
Yay.
supportive. So after winning last week with Cocktail Flow, how do I
to throw that in our face again after winning?
How do I follow that up? But no, part of my winning streak has been driven by I spent a lot of time researching new apps, and I've been really looking for apps that really either are designed very well or bring something to the table that I haven't seen yet. And this week I've got an app that is nice on the design, but it's not blow your mind design, but functionality I think is pretty interesting. And the app is called Decide. And basically a lot of us, I'm sure many of you in the audience like me, tend to spend money on consumer electronics. The latest gadget is out there, want to check it out, want to get, neat different things. And Decide is a way to help you not only find the best price for the gadgets that you're buying, but also let you know when you should buy them. So if I pull it right up here, you can take a look at it. And it's actually it utilizes technology that's very similar to, I don't know if any of you use bing.com/travel to search for airfare, but what they have is they have a little indicator that tells you whether or not it's time to buy or if you should wait or, that sort, kind of by using past data. So if we load up Decide here, we can see. All right. It works in two ways when it eventually loads. You can either use your phone to scan, so you can scan a barcode or a QR code to get to a product, or you can browse or just search for that product. So I'm going to browse, so I don't actually have any barcodes here. And here you can see that they've got a great little menu of breaking out the different types of technology that's out there. So let's say I'm going to search for, and I'm going to look for a new phone, because I'm tired of this one. So I'm going to go to phones. And it'll give you a list of all the phones that are in their database, as well as what the current going price is for and whether or not you should buy it or not. And so, for example, if I'm going to get the HTC Evo 3D 4G.
Oh, don't get that one.
Well, I'm just picking one for this. So here what we can see
battery drain.
What we see is that it will give us both the information about the phone, where you can find it online, and apparently you can find it for 1 cent online, which is probably dubious. But it also does a search for nearby locations based on your location, and it gives you this little indicator whether you should buy. And I'm going to click that, and it will tell me that based off of the past sales averages and things like that, we think you should buy this right now, and here's why. And what's really interesting is that not only do they incorporate past pricing information, but they're also taking into account new releases. So, for example, I forget which phone it was, but earlier I looked up a phone and they said wait for the next model because this model is going to be upgraded soon. So I thought that was interesting. That's taking both pricing data as well as what's coming up for various model releases and things like that. It also has a neat little way, if we go back here, where you can basically track. I guess not Facebook, I didn't. But you have to. You could track products. So, for example, if I'm in the market for a new TV and I really have my eye on that Samsung LED TV, but I want to wait till the price comes down to $1,700 versus $2,100, it will send you an email, and you can choose the frequency that the email sends you, and it will monitor prices for you, so you don't have to always be going back to check the app, which is a great way when you've got your eye on a product, but you're not quite sure you want to pull the trigger. You want to make sure you get the best deal possible. So, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. Simple app, helps you save money, helps you get the consumer electronics you want, lets you know when you should buy them, track them. It's pretty much, I browsed through, it's got a ton of computer, home theater, pretty much any sort of consumer electronics you can think of. So, and the app is free in the Android marketplace. So,
cool.
Yeah, there you go. So decide.
Yes or no. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
It should be yes or no. Boom. For any decision you have to make. Cool. So stick it. I'm not telling you guys that. I'm just saying that's Eileen's app.
Stick it, man.
Eileen's app is Stick It. Mine was the game Tip Off, and Ron had Decide. So it's time for you to decide which one you want to vote for, and go to bit.ly/AAA poll 47. bit.ly/AAA poll 47.
I think this one's going to be a close one because that game, that's a fun little game. Stick It is great for if you watch video on your tablet, and Decide is just the best app of the three, but I'm sure the other ones will do okay.
Oh, Stick It, pulling out ahead, Tip Off, taking a quick third.
This is my 2012 persona of confidence. Eileen is holding
cockiness is what I'd like to say.
This so far it's looking like a pretty even match. Although Stick It definitely is sticking it to the competition.
You never know.
At this point.
It's gonna
Stick It. Admittedly, Stick It is the most disruptive of the three. I'll give you that credit.
Disruptive?
Like
what do you mean?
it takes a functionality and changes the way the tablet works.
Yeah.
Or, and I
So
like
it's really something that you haven't kind of potentially seen before.
Yeah, personally, I don't watch a lot of video on my phone, so
But what about your tablet on your Zoom?
Possibly I could. Yeah.
So when you're watching Boardwalk Empire, you can have it as big as you want on the screen and still be doing
do something else. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Eileen, you're looking pretty strong right now.
Early leader.
54% with a decent amount of votes.
I believe in Stick It. I believe in it. I really do.
So you might have the early edge here. Although I'm waiting for I think Tip Off has more appeal to people that listen in podcast form, not live.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
the recreational.
Yeah. So I'm just saying,
Well, and I got to say that I did some demographic research, and the TWiT audience does purchase consumer electronics a lot. So if you're looking to save money when you're purchasing your consumer, and also when you replace your consumer electronics, you can go return your old ones to Gazelle, who's also a sponsor of TWiT. And there you go. See, it's just all a synergy. It's what I'm bringing to the table.
Wow. You've really thought of it all, Ron.
I did. I really did. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, next week we'll have another grab bag. We should come up with a rule of some sort for, if not next week, then a couple of weeks from now. So let's think of some rules. If you have any good ideas for kind of app arena rules.
I've gotten I can't remember now. There was an email from someone who gave us some suggestions on arena suggestions on things to do. Only beta apps or
right. That's right. That's right. I was thinking
that was scary because then the Dropbox thing.
Yeah.
And then the guy calls in and says, "Guess what? I went over my my bandwidth cap." Oh crap!
I was thinking it might be cool at some point to do developers that listen to the show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Just apps and people that listen to the show.
Yeah. Cody in the chat room is asking for tablet apps again. So
there we go. Yeah, we haven't done tablet apps. Let's do that next week.
Sure, we can do tablet apps.
Okay, we'll do tablet apps next week.
It would have totally ran away with it last week. There's no way. Come on. My app would have won for sure next week, but that's okay.
And if you are a developer and you listen or watch the show, send us an email at aaa@twit.tv with a little bit of information about your app, and maybe sometime in the future, if we start kind of getting you guys to send this to us now, we can kind of label it and have a good stockpile to pick from,
and
then maybe we can do some Android Arena reviews around just your apps, give you kind of the spotlight as well. So that is it for this week. Another All About Android is in the
bag.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to say that too loud because Leo's right over there.
It's in the can.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So the
It's
bag.
in the can, so that you're fine. Yeah.
All right, we're good then. Okay.
And the bag, like the marketplace, is a little icon is the bag.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, that's
totally what I meant.
Yeah.
All right, Ron, go ahead and plug.
So if you're looking for more information about me, you can go find me at about.me/RonXO. That's got links to my Twitter, Facebook, Google+, everything else, LinkedIn if you want to hire me. But also, if you like what I tend to do, head over to ifanboy.com where we've got podcasts, and it's a website dedicated to about comic books and fun stuff over there if you're into comics. And also check out graphically.com where we've got Android apps for reading comics online. So good times.
Good times had by all.
Yep.
Eileen?
You can find me about.me/Eileen Rose. Some of you have been emailing me there. Thank you very much. Or on Twitter at Eileen TV or on G+.
G+.to/Eileen TV.
Thank you, Ron. That's it.
Okay. Before I do mine, next week we have.
Oh, yes.
What is it?
It is President's Day holiday in the United States.
Right.
So we are not going to be here at our regular Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Instead, we are going to go live at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, the 21st. Hopefully that doesn't really confuse. Usually frame rates there, they are going to go early because they have a special interview lined up in the morning. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
It's going to be cool, though.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know what it
That's
is.
going to be a long day for me.
Yeah, it's long. And Jason
here
has
for
3
the whole
shows
thing.
that day. Yeah, I've got Mac Break earlier in that day. But anyways, we have a different time. So those of you coming to watch live on Mondays, it's going to be all sort of reruns that day.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. And you can find me at about.me/Jason Howell or at Jason Howell on Twitter. I've gone to the dark side. You can still find me at Raygun01, but my main account now is Jason Howell. So
If you going legit.
yeah, it feels
on the
weird.
handle.
Believe
Bailing
me,
on the
it
handle.
feels weird. It was a strange process switching over. I got a little shaky. I was
Really?
like, should I do
when
this?
I
Anytime you're
changed-
messing with it, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, when I changed my Twitter handle, it took me like 3 or 4 months to finally go with it. And
remember
and then
that.
when I did it, I remember you were like, "Oh, is it because you're going to TWiT?" And I was like, "Well, I just want my
It was
name."
good
on
that was
there."
good timing.
It was
That
good
was good.
timing. I
Admittedly, it
was
was good timing.
changing where I was working, and
Yeah.
it kind of worked.
So I
so-
will never change mine. So there you go. I will put a stake in the ground there.
But you have Ron in your
That's my
name.
identity.
See,
There you go.
I didn't have my name in my original Twitter handle, and neither did you.
I'm wondering
so-
if I'm looking up to see if someone has my name. They probably do. Yeah, someone does. Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Someone-
Lose, you lose.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA, and we will hopefully play it. We want to play it. Send us an email, or you can send us a link to your video mail. That's aaa@twit.tv. You can find the show on Twitter. It's @AndroidShow. You can find our show notes, twit.tv/AAA. All of our episodes are published there. And finally, you can catch us live next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, at live.twit.tv. And that's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. You. And you.
Wings. Flying.